Take me to the sea, wash away my worries, let my soul be free. Take me to the ocean, take me to the sea, wash away my worries, let my soul be free.
Hello world, I'm Mhax. Back in IRL, I go by Curtis. Welcome to another episode of the State Copy Podcast. As always, I'll remind you to review episode 0 and its appended segments for terms, conditions, and disclosures applicable to the entirety of this content. Thank you. Well, hey everybody. I took a day off from podcasting to do a whole bunch of two of my other projects that I'm working hard on right now. So even though I think we're all on the edge of our seat over GFC3, that's how I'm thinking about it. I think that's what I'll label this video. So further follow-up on the Silicon Valley Bank and then Signature Bank, and then seeing the shit show that happened on Sunday when Janet Yellen went out and had no plan. And then basically the lift of FDIC played out basically everything kind of worked out the way I was thinking it would. So far, but it's impossible to see what's going to happen now, because now markets are so good at, there are hundreds of thousands of people employed to do accurate prediction on the second and third order consequences of everything that's happening in real time. They're optimized for that. And that's so markets, the reason they seem sort of ahead of everything is because there are people who spend all day studying very hard to make accurate forecasts of what's about to happen. So now markets have to quickly adjust to the reality that we all now know that the Fed no longer is able to adjust base rates at their whim. They basically they decided to crank it up all the way to 11, thinking that that was necessary for how they interpret inflation and their job. And the thing is this isn't just crypto and growth. This is, they quite literally had to do what they did to stop a bank run on all the regional banks. And now markets are going to adjust to the fact that they can't raise anymore. I'd be very surprised if they get to do even 25 in the next FOMC. I think I think hawkish looks like no cuts. That's what I think. Otherwise, they're going to have to keep backstopping, and we're going to run out of, the FDIC is going to run out of budget. We're going to have to print more, and I don't know. Honestly, that's so big. It's so hard to see. So that was a clumsy rehash of, so I watched 2 videos yesterday. I'm always, especially in a moment like this Monday, yesterday, I dedicated about 3 hours to long form discussion that was happening around how this all happened and how the Fed responded, and as they tried to interpret what happens next. So I'm going to link 2 videos in the description. The first one I think is very accessible even to the non-macro geeks who love studying all this shit. It's Raoul Paul, co-founder and CEO of Real Vision, with Forecast Labs, co-CEO of Forecast.news, editor-in-chief Angie Law, and Chris Whalen of Whalen Global Advisors. Fantastic conversation. Moderated awesomely by Ash Bennington. Quick tangent there. Tony Greer of TG Macro has given Ash Bennington the nickname Slash, and I like it. Let's all call him that. If I ever talk to you, Ash, you're getting Slash. That's a cool nickname. Okay, anyways, that's a really good conversation. I think the TLDR, that because Raoul only gets to hang out for like the first 10 minutes or so, he describes very well, I think, a lot of the dynamics of this situation. And I think he does it in a way that it's, like I said, really accessible, even if you don't understand the sort of the finer points of the global economy and the Eurodollar. And I loved the conversation and all of Chris Whalen's takes. I agree largely with what everybody had to say in this conversation, and it's beautiful. So I would do a clumsier job. I would recommend just go watch this video if you want to understand this better. And then if you want to go deep and you have done all the homework on, you know, all of the mechanics and the all of the cogs and gears in this machine, then if you want to go next level, then I'd say George Gammond of Rebel Capitalist had Jeff Snyder on his show, and I really enjoyed their conversation, but it is super technical. So I will link that, and I highly recommend those two. And right now it's just too early. Like right now, it's really difficult to forecast or. So key takeaways I have from listening to those two and watching how this played out is markets are about to adapt, that there can't be any more rate hikes, and that the Feds basically, the decisions they get to make now are about the speed at which rates come back down. I think that's the only tool they have. And it is actually wildly important how they decide to do that, and the decisions they make up around these new tools, as Jeff and George talk about. So I'm going to be watching that really carefully, and I'm going to get loads of my predictions wrong. So that's okay. That's part of this. And I'm just going to do my best to understand it as well as I can. And then I'm going to try and put these really tight compressions together for anybody who's following me and interested in understanding GFC3. I call it GFC3 is global financial collapse. GFC1 is 2008, GFC2 is 2020, and GFC3 is right now. And I think the right things happened, not the perfect things, but like it could have gotten a little, I think there was a path to a better outcome if the government hadn't stepped in and made some of the decisions they did in the first week. And also because I think they're trying to stem the tide of capital flight from the Eurodollar to other systems, namely crypto and Web3. I think that there's a lot of sort of leaks and information that's coming out because Web3 is happening, whether people want it or not, understand it or not. It's just one day soon there's going to be a parallel system that's not all fucked up like this one we have, and everybody's going to be able to use it like they do, and it'll be really easy, and we can all talk to each other now, and there's no way anybody can really it's all open source. It's all just code that, and if the United States tries to put tight controls on it, everybody can just go set up a VPN and just connect to it. So it's for me, it's just an inevitable outcome that we're marching to. I hope slowly, and I want to think a lot about what that transition looks like. I don't think it should just be, and actually it won't work out good for you if you just decide to like pile through the gates right now, because there's too many unknowns in it. It's not ready. It's not done. And you might pile into the wrong thing. So as always, my advice is don't panic. So one closing thought I'll have before I wrap up. I responded to Anatoly Yakovenko. Toly said he made a Twitter post on March 12th. He said, "The most uncomfortable thing might be that the Fed might be mostly right. It should maintain an environment of risk and prevent depositors from evading it, but also step in during an emergency, eliminating risk and never socializing risk. Probably results," I read that wrong. He says, "Eliminating risk and never socializing risk probably results in slower growth." I think that's valid. He goes on to say, "Maybe the highest growth environment is one that keeps the foot on the gas and just deals with a shit show once every 10 years. I think that's true too. And so I responded to that. I said, "I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and I have to concede that it's possible." I mean, I give the Fed a lot of guff in my past shows about sort of needing to be right and ignoring markets and doing things that seem to aggravate the situation rather than help it. I don't know if they're just like wicked smarter than me and they're able to see a few further moves out in the chess game of all this. And I have to concede that that's a possibility because, as always, I don't care about being right. I'm just trying to look at everybody and make the best picture I can out of what I'm looking at. So maybe that's a very good point. But the problem is, as markets become better and better and better informed by content like this and like these wonderful people put out that I just mentioned and that I will link to in the description, markets understand the limitations and what. So I don't think we get, like, I don't think coming out of GFC3 we're going to get another 12, 14 years or whatever we got after the first day of 08's. Kaboom. So I'd be really happy if we could just get 7 years. I think 7 years, that gets us safely on the other side of the singularity, and that'd be badass. I don't think we're going to get that. I think this time it's because markets understand how to short the limitations. Like, markets will understand what the Fed can and can't do, and they're slowly getting painted further and further and further into the corner, and they're painting themselves in, and markets are all watching them do it. So I don't think we have as much time, but I am one who loves, like, I love the Eurodollar system is the first crypto. It's the first version of ledger money, and it's fucking awesome. Like, I love it, and I'm amazed at how well it's worked for how long it's worked, and I really want it. I want it to keep working for as long as possible, till we can come up with the smoothest transition over to Web3 rails. So we need to give software developers and teams out there trying different things in Web3 more time to build what they're building, and make it really redundant. Like, I don't know that I buy the whole multi-chain future thing. Here's what it is. I think there definitely is going to be a multi-chain future. I just think like 99% of all transactions will happen on one. And then I think we'll have digital gold, Bitcoin, as just sort of an anchor that's there if everybody needs to move ships because somebody finds some vulnerability or problem with the one everybody's using one day. Software is incredibly complicated. Like, everyone who's using all of these tools, this is just a magic thing. Work harder, developers, make this happen. Why are you bitching and asking for so much money? This is fucking hard. I did this my whole life, and I watched people who are really good at it. And to make the magic of what's happening now where I get to talk to you is fucking ridiculously hard, especially scale. Like, you can do this amongst 100 people, no problem. When you want to make it work for a few billion people, it's ridiculously hard. I can't tell you. So, and it's being created by flawed, like, bugs are a thing. And if we're going to run all of the next financial system on top of it, we need all kinds of redundancy, and we need protocols for how we hedge against that risk. So I think Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, is going to be that. And then I think there's going to be a substrate for decentralized Web3 transactions that'll be much higher throughput. And that looks like Solana and all the new guys coming in trying to do that. Yeah, we need more time. And we need like really clear disaster recovery and business continuity. These are big things. We need to stay on the Eurodollar. Crypto is not ready. It is not time to go rush into the doors and pile into it. I mean, it is time to learn everything you can about it because it's the inevitable future. So if you want to have some sort of really large position in it, there are ways that you can begin positioning yourself across many of the projects that are there that, with good risk management in case some bet you're making on how it will pan out, so that you want to really be positioned in many of the buckets that are available, probably. And there's so many ways to do that. So I would just say education invested now is the right approach if you're wanting to position yourself really well for the inevitable future. But I can't tell you which one is gonna, and I think it would be really very irresponsible for me or anybody to say, yeah, you can do this definitely, and you'll be a gazillionaire in Web3 land. I don't know. I just do the best I can with the information I have, like we all should. So that's today's show. Thank you so much to all my list 45 subscribers. You guys are awesome. And I'm now going to do I'm going to do a longer form capture today, where I'm going to talk to the physics and psychiatry, philosophy community. I've been spending a lot of time on some work that's happening there, and I want to go long form on that. So if you'd like, there should be another show out later today that covers that. So yeah, I'll just wrap up with, like I always say, don't panic. We've got big problems, but we've got big, cool tools in our arsenal to deal with them. That we've never had before. Twitter, YouTube, and AGI are insane advantages that humanity didn't have when they were going through another time like this in our history. So even though we have really powerful tools to annihilate each other, we also have really powerful tools to come to sanity together. And that's what this whole show is about. I want to remind everyone that everything's going to be okay. We are going to be all right. I'm sure of it. All right. Thank you so much.
Now it's coming around, you're feeling cut down and in the ground, and so we all come together. We making a sound, we sing. Look at all this love we found. Got a reason why I'm close to the sweet life. I feel strong. Right, see the sun giving me the green light. Kick back, relax, and soak up the sweet sights. Take me to the ocean, take me to the sea. Wash away my worries, let my soul be